Hell yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Cuts by Reggie back with another video. Today we have a tutorial. I haven't done a tutorial in a while, but this is a step by step on a wave cut. We cutting my man down from not necessarily wolfing. He was letting his hair kind of grow. He had a nappy sponge look, so we just cutting him down, getting waves popping back out. You want to start first off with just combing up the hair, picking out the hair, whichever you choose. You just want to loosen up the hair on the scalp, making sure everything is off the scalp, and you combing it in the direction that the hair actually grows. We're going to first start. This is not the length that he's looking for, but we will start with a number 2 close. Especially when people they didn't have their hair grown out for a while, they come in, they say they want a number 1, they want a 1.5 or whatever. I like to go guard up higher, just to kind of get some of that thickness out the way. I don't want to cut straight down into the guard that they say, because sometimes it might be lower than what they want, or so you just want to start high. You can always take hair off, you can't never put the hair back on. So instead of us waiting for it to grow back out, we're going down with it didn't really zoom in too good, but we got the 1.5 guard all the way closed. And again, just taking down the bulk of the hair, just making sure that we can get the length step by step to what we desire his length to be. I think in this video we do a 1 guard open or close. I know it's a 1 guard, so I'm just taking my time, going down a little bit at a time, After we got that hair laid down, he is doing a taper. We didn't go completely bald with the taper, but we are going high on it a little bit. We taking the magic clips all the way closed, starting that taper line, and just flicking at it. I'm not putting hard lines in. Like I said, I don't do guidelines when I'm fading too much. I just take the bottom guard and just work my way up. So after we do that, we're gonna put that half guard on. We're gonna start with it closed and just flicking at that line. You're not going directly at the line, you flicking out right before you get to the line. You kind of get that fade. You kind of help everything start to blend instead of you putting the hard lines in. I know people do the hard lines, and that's fine. It still get the job done. That's just not how I usually do it. I just like to I just work my way up. I can't fade down too often, so I just work my way up. And here we are with the 1 guard. And again, just playing with the lever. We're gonna start all the way closed and just work our way up on that high taper. And when you brushing up, or when you cutting up, you want to make sure you brushing down you want to keep everything laid down. So when you cutting, you brush down, you cutting, you brush down. You just want to make sure everything is laid down before you go into your next. Especially when you switching guards, you want to make sure everything is laid down smooth, everything is laid down to the head. So that's why I got my brush, and I'm cutting into it, but then I'm taking it down. I'm cutting into it and I'm laying it down. And here we got the 1.5 on there, just going into that taper. And as you can see, the blend is already coming into play. But we will go back over everything, finishing touches. As you see, we drop back down to the half guard, and then I'll drop back and forth between the no guard, just getting out them dark spots and making sure and making sure that your blend is popping. You get what I'm saying? Especially on the high taper. I like high tapers more because that give you more room to play with anyway. So it's fun to do those. And here we are, just cleaning up his beard a little bit, fading it in. I won't use a guard on the blending in the beard right now. I'll go back later with finishing touches, but this is just laying out your template for you, getting everything in order and figuring out where you want to go next. And here we are, we'll go to the other side, same steps. no guard, all the way closed. You'll work your way up to the half guard, 1.5, and that'll be the highest guard that I use, because since I do know I'm taking it down with a 1 later, the 1.5 guard will be the highest guard that I use, just to kind of get that bulk, just to kind of clean up your fade as you go along. When you see me there, I was just stretching the skin. You want to make sure you're stretching the skin, making sure that you know that fade can look different when you're looking in the mirror, when you're stretching the skin, when you're looking at it certain ways. So you want to do everything in your power when you're fading or when you cutting someone's hair, to make sure that you're doing everything that you can, that person, that you're giving that person the cut that they looking for. And same thing here, going to the back of the taper, no guard, work your way up. And as you can see with the taper in the back, especially with wavers, you don't want to start it too high, because a lot of them, they do want to keep their waves. And since he's going back in 2 waves, I didn't start that ball line too high, kind of kept it low, so he can make sure that his waves coming all the way back as far as that he usually, get them. Keeping it darker right below that crease in the back of his neck, on the back of his head, just making sure that I'm keeping it as dark as possible right there. You want to make sure you use your mirror, because as you can tell, if you're a barber or if you're new to barbering, you've been barbering, you know that once you look at your fade, once you turn around to the mirror or you look at it later in the picture, everything looks different. Here I am just using my liquid razor, just getting his edges to lay down before I line them up. And I'll spray that all the way around, do the double brush method. So what I'm doing here is the hard brush and medium brush. The hard brush, it kind of stretches out the hair as it's brushing like a comb almost. And then the medium brush is just laying everything down. So I'll double brush it. Especially, I do it on my wavers, but especially when they haven't had their hair cut down in a while. Just kind of help, just to kind of start to train their hair again. And as you can see, I go with the 1 guard. Put the 1 guard on, all the way open, getting it down to the length that we're trying to get it to. And as you can see, once you got them tapers in there, this is how I like to do it. A lot of people, you can cut it all down to that length and then taper it up, but me, I like to keep it a little dark, put the tapers in, and then I'll cut everything down, because once you going with the grain into that taper, it just gets everything to lay down a little bit smoother, a little bit, I won't say better, but smoother for me. Better for me, in other words. I'm not saying it's better, like, it's the only way, but it works for me, and that's the way I like to do it. Y'all can tell this was an older video. I had my beard down. I cut my beard all the way down. I hated that for a second, boy. I had to let it grow back out. And what I'm doing here is just kind of getting that bulk out the way on that front lineup. So since I did a 1 guard open all the way around, I will take the 1 guard closed and just tapping at that line, just getting that line, just getting it to lay down a little bit smoother, so when you do go to lay it down or when you do go to line it up, it just kind of give it a better look. Not a better look, it's just a cleaner look instead of the hair being in your way. It's just kind of cutting that extra hair hanging out of your way. Make sure you use your mirror. You start seeing them dark spots when you finishing up. So I'm just using the corner of my blade here, just going into, nudging at that dark line, making sure that I get everything as clean as possible before I move on to the next step. The thing about videos, man, you start seeing certain things that you wish you could go back over, but you get to the line, and I like to start in the back. That just helped me. It helped me map out the whole cut or the lineup as I go. It's a little bit easier for me. I'll start in the back, go around to the side behind the beard, and line all that up, and go to the other side and just kind of trace it around, and then kind of blend it all in together in the front. And here we are. You go to the other side, do the same thing, making sure that you're just tapping at that line. You don't want to dig into the skin. If your trimmers are set the way you want them to be, or at a decent, you don't necessarily have to zero gap them, but if they set right, you don't have to dig into the skin. You can just tap and let your trimmers actually do the work of getting that line the way you want it to be. Here we are, just lining up the front. Like I said, I like to start in the back. Once I got the back the way I want it, I'll come straight to the front, get that line up correct. I gotta learn how to work the camera a little bit, man. I use my phone. I do have a camera. I'm not too keen on the settings and stuff on the camera, so I still am using my phone at times to record. But it's a little bit different when you got it on that tripod, but we still working on some things, man. So once I got that other side, I'm gonna start with the vertical bars on this side, go into the front line and just match everything up. Make sure that you're using the corner of your blade when you're on that C cup. We're not looking bad though, man. We are not looking bad. Especially after he done had his hair grown out. He was doing the sponge look for so long. Wanted to get his waves back for a second. So here we are, trying to get him back right. He still got a few ripples in there. And here we are at the end of the cut. Everything looking good, line up looking crispy. I did use a little bit of Tune 45 hair color on them. I did not show that in the video. Maybe I'll do an extra video on that. But if you like the cut, give me a thumbs up. If you see I did something wrong, thumbs down. Like the video, share the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cuts by Reggie. We'll be back with another one.